You know we had to do a podcast, right?
What's your name, fat body?
Of course, you were looking food. What the hell?
I'm not fat. I'm big boned.
I'm gonna eat it.
You owe me for one jelly donut!
Fat motherfucker.
Listen to it. My wife said no one's gonna listen to us.
I've got bigger titties than you do!
Bullshit, because nobody fucking had geese back at that point for a bigger guy.
I'm not everyone's cup of tea, but I might be somebody's shot of whiskey.
You can't think about, hey, I need to lose 100 pounds. You think about winning that day.
Fucking, I want a cheeseburger and a milkshake. What's up, Fatleets, and welcome to episode 34 of the Fat Boy Jiu-Jitsu podcast. How you been? While I've been pretty much indisposed lately, and I haven't recorded a podcast, I've been working hard at home, at work, and really trying to fine-tune that personal life. You know, now that we are in our new home, trying to get everything situated and in a good place, and we're on track to do so, which is great. This past weekend, I had a hell of a snafu, and in the midst of fixing something that was a problem, I caused an even bigger problem, which probably I lost like 2 days of work. All day Friday and all day Saturday fixing this leak I created. But now, now that I got that fixed, I gotta get back to originally working on what I was supposed to be working on before the snafu. And in the meantime, let you guys know, I've been so apprehensive about recording a podcast because I'm trying to set out a time and think, the podcast has to be this and this, has to be a certain length, or it's not going to be any good. And the general consensus more so is, it doesn't need to be that. Maybe I'm trying to make it something that it doesn't need to be. Maybe, I don't know, but apparently it doesn't need to be as complicated as I'm making it. But that being said, I'm going to try to, what my thought is to do them a lot shorter and just, possibly carry around my recording equipment. And I think I might have said this before, but just throughout the day, there's things that pop in my head. Somebody asked me a question about keto or how to do things. In 3 days, I will be celebrating 1 year keto. Now, you can go back and listen to that podcast and know that I had no idea what I was going to do. It was something that I jumped into because a coworker was jumping into, and I was going to jump on her coattails because when I started it, I didn't have this grand planned. I didn't have weeks of meal plans planned out. I barely had food in the fridge to consider even going on keto. I just knew, I gotta, eat all these fats, not eat any of these carbs, and go from there. don't let me fool you. I'm not going to say it was the easiest, and it definitely wasn't the smartest thing to do, going in there without a plan. Especially if you're not planning on doing research, or, if you're going to just make a dumb decision. And let me... So 100% of the time when I first started, I would be like, okay, well, what can I eat that's keto? And I would just start making meals. And so my go-to a lot of time was eggs and bacon. Who the fuck doesn't like eggs and bacon? And then I think early on, I don't know how early on it was. I want to say it was in the first month, maybe even the first couple of weeks, is when I found that Fathead pizza crust. And to this day, I may make 2 or 3 of those a week. I understand this may not work for everybody. Most people maybe don't want to eat the same food twice or maybe even 3 times a week for a year. And I completely understand that. That's probably will get boring. What I don't understand is how people will go keto and start seeing not just benefits, feeling benefits, and then just revert back to eating like crap. And I know 100% of the time I'm guilty of that, and I'm not trying to talk, about my whole cheat day philosophy or anything. I'm just talking about if you feel good eating these types of food, and you kind of feel shitty eating these types of food. Well, why would you even entertain the shit food? And while maybe I haven't, so the podcast probably can reach more people than what email me daily, or Facebook message me, or PM me on Instagram, tips, how to do this, what do I do, when I'm doing this. There's someone I was having an interesting conversation with, he started keto, and about a month in, the first month, he said he started having night sweats. And that he may actually stop the diet because of it, I believe. I believe that's what he said. This was a couple of weeks ago. And he reached out to me before he was going to start keto, and then a couple weeks in, when he wasn't keto, and told me, "Oh, listen, I think I'm going to stop because of these night sweats. This diet is making me have these night sweats." Well, I get night sweats too, and I have never, in the last, I don't remember them before I started keto, but I don't know when they started. I just know recently they've started, and they weren't as bad in Fort Myers, and I don't know. It could be it could just be stress related living in Orlando, because up until like a week ago, I didn't have AC in the car I was driving, and 100% my fault. I was being lazy and not trying to replace a part. But anyways, I don't remember when they started. I know they started happening. I originally thought it was when we moved back to our condo. The way the return ducts, there was no return ducts in the second floor, and because of that, there was no real good air circulation at night when the house was getting cool, especially when you had the door closed. So it was a little bit warmer, and then we couldn't really sleep with the fan on due to the baby. because she had she sleeps in the room, not in the room with us, not on the bed, in her crib, but in the room with us. And with the baby, we don't want the fan on to make it colder and get her sick. So I started getting really, really sweaty to the point where there were some nights I would just opt to sleep on the floor because, you'd get up to go piss, you'd come back, and the bed is like, you lay down on your back and you feel kind of just that cold sweat is disgusting. My wife, she's pissed because she's got to clean. She'll wake up one day and touch the fucking the pillow and be like, just look at me and give me this look of utter disgust, and then throw the shit in the fucking washing machine. So for me, it happens right now. It's probably happened 3 times a week. My man, he said he felt it was the diet. He said his wife's, I believe she's a nurse, not a nutritionist, a nurse. Anyways, and that it probably is diet based, and that he was going to jump off of keto because of it. But in every other aspect of his life, it was working for him. Right? So this is an instance where I feel that, the diet, it could be hard to stick to, but this is a no-brainer for me. I would rather feel amazing 100% throughout the day and whatever, and deal with these little night sweats that happen. Because you know what else? What doesn't happen for me is the inflammation I would have walking up and down stairs, or the shortness of breath that I would have. I don't feel my heart anymore, and I say that as in, when I was heavier, I used to pay attention. I used to feel that muscle kind of like it was always under stress. And now I don't feel that. I don't feel that pain, that pressure I did in my chest. And fucking who knows? I might have been having heart attacks all the time. I don't know. I wasn't very good at going to the doctor. And speaking of which, I'm trying to set up an appointment. I've been trying to set up an appointment for the last 2 months. My old primary care doesn't want to, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because I want to get blood work done, because the last time I had blood work done was in October, 3 months into having started keto. So I definitely have 3 months before I started keto. Because that's when, if you recall, that's right around the time when my doctor was prescribing the androgel, and he refused to prescribe anything but androgel, and I didn't want to get on androgel because my insurance wasn't covering it. Long story short, I just stopped it, and I stopped in due time because the baby was born in July, and I didn't want to start taking that anymore. And right before I started keto, my testosterone level was at a 2, like either it was 238 or 258. The 2 and the 8, I'm pretty sure about the 2 and the 8. I don't know about the 3 or the 5. So it was either 238 or 258. Come October of last year, I redid the labs, and now this was 3 months after keto. My testosterone went up to six something, raised almost 400 points, and all I had done was gone keto. And by that point, I had the 1 cheat day in September. But other than that, just been keto. And that naturally just raised my testosterone. So right then and there, like it sold me, and kind of that's That's what I mean when like you see results like I've seen. I don't see where it's like, no, there's no benefit for me to go back to start eating other shitty food. And then I am overjoyed of the amount of people who have been paying attention and watching and and seeing what I'm doing, and they're starting, and I'm changing 2 lives right now with friends who they've been friends. They're actually friends of my sister, or that's how I met them. And they've been married for over 20 years, but my sister and her have been friends for over 25, I want to say 30 years, okay? Between 25 and 30 years. And within the last 8 weeks, they've watched me and they've seen what I've done in keto since last year, and they've jumped on the bandwagon. And the bandwagon, and they're doing amazing. I think they're both down about 30 to 40 pounds, or collectively 30 to 40 pounds. And they said they feel amazing. Now, that right there drives me. If I can do that for them and they're changing their lives, who's watching them? So if they're watching me, and countless people email me or instant message me, private message me, and they let me know that, hey, it's because of how well I'm doing that they're willing to try this. And that is so fucking great, because there's nothing special about me. Anybody can do this. If you're listening to me right now, you can do this. Now, I can tell you 100% what I eat, not because I don't write the shit down. But if I started logging what I ate, how much I ate, when I eat, and you followed that 100%, you could probably see the same results I'm seeing. But that doesn't really help you in the fact that you don't know not the process, I guess, but if I can only show you, if I only tell you this, 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 and this, what happens when this happens? When this variable pops up, what are you going to do there? And I mention this because several people get, oh, Juan, fat boy, how do you do this? What do you do? I eat this, 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 and this, blah, blah, blah. So then they come reach out to them a couple weeks later. Hey, what's up? How's keto going? Oh, I stopped that. Why'd you stop that? Well, I started doing this, and so I didn't have this question, or I didn't know about this. So then, instead of kind of like researching, they make the poor decision. And then once you go down one poor decision, it's like, well, fuck it. I'll do this, and then I'll eat this, and I'll start back up on Monday. And that Monday never comes. For some, it never comes. Many try to restart, and you lose that momentum. It's probably what I'm afraid of is, if I were to stop, I would probably get, maybe or maybe not, depending on how, because I've been fat adapted for so long, but I'll probably get keto flu again. I'm definitely afraid of fucking that again. That shit sucked. But now I know what to do in that situation. Whereas when I first started, I didn't know. I wasn't taking in, pink salt. I wasn't making sure I was drinking, tons more water. No, I didn't know this, and I didn't ask those questions. But had I researched a little more, man, I would have been able to find that. So many people, so quick to throw up that, I didn't know how delicious bone broth was and how good it can be. And I just mentioned bone broth, and I just realized right this very instant, I have a coworker who made me some bone broth, and I think I still have a fucking Tupperware here in my house. And this must be a couple weeks ago. Son of a bitch. So 100% my biggest advice to people is, if they want to start keto, is you kind of have to learn about it. Yes, you're going to be able to see what I see. You see what I eat. You show, you may see what I take pictures of, or what another keto person takes pictures of or eats, and you're gonna eat like this, you're gonna eat like this. You see meals, you may not know why, and I think that is more important. 100%, that's going to be more important to your success, is knowing why you're eating these things, versus what to eat. And then if you're boring like me, you eat bacon and eggs 4 times a week, and then a keto pizza here and there, and boom, a year down the road, you're 94 pounds less too. Can you believe that? I am about 94 pounds lighter than I was a year ago. Well, I am 94 pounds lighter than I was a year ago. 94 fucking pounds, right? Since I started keto. Another 50 before I started keto. So total, I've lost 148 pounds. I have lost 148 pounds, and I am still in the same weight division. Let's say that again. I have lost 148 fucking pounds, and I am still an ultra heavy. That being said, I am within, 15, 16 pounds of the next division. But for the IBJJF weight classes, ultra heavy starts at anything above 221. 221 and above is ultra heavy. 221 to like 207 is heavy, super heavy. And then you can't be more than 207. You can't be more than 207 and a half to be heavy. And then next weight class is 194 and a half. And these are all with a gi, so you probably be like 5 or 6, depending on your gi and what lightweight gi you're using. But so I at least have to hit 221 so I can get in a lower weight class. But can you imagine losing 148 fucking pounds and still being in the same weight class? Yeah, I still don't believe it. I mean, hell, I'm sitting in an office chair that I sat way back when, and my right side and my left side would simultaneously touch the armrest because of my sheer size. And now I'm practically chilling in the seat. I can sit sideways with my feet over the edge and be completely fine. And there's things like that I don't know when I'm going to get used to, because I still haven't. I walk into a store to buy some clothes. I still beeline it to the big and tall section. The fact that I now wear an extra large shirt isn't like, it's one of the hardest things for me to compute, because it was never something that I knew. My life was, size 50 pants and 3X shirts. size 50 pants and 3X shirts was my life, and that's all it was going to be. I don't think that everybody who wants to try keto needs to do it well, let me rephrase that. I think everybody who wants to try keto needs to go in there knowing that that's what they're going to do, and they got to give it enough time. Giving something a week or 2 weeks, especially keto, that's definitely not enough time to feel any benefit. And this idea that you're going to early on start keto for 2 weeks and then get off for a day and then try to kick back on, you're never going to see any benefit. I mean, you have to dive in and you have to go knowing this is what you're going to do, and you got to give it a legitimate fucking shot. Otherwise, you're wasting time. And if you're going to be wasting time, you probably shouldn't be eating the amount of fats that consuming, because let me tell you, somewhere around 4 or 5 tablespoons of butter a day is amazing. But you can't not be doing keto and do that, because that's probably not going to end up very well for you. I've mentioned this previously in another podcast. I don't remember which one, but Henry Gracie said it the best. Like, make time by not doing something else. And was it Henry or Heat-On? I fucked this up the last time too. I forget which one it was. But the notion is, you can make whatever time in the world. You know, this abstract, I don't have the time for this. Yes, you do. Just stop doing something else that's not important to you. You know, do you have to watch? Actually, let me use me for an example. Do I have to play 3 or 4 games of Fortnite a night? No. I could honestly sit here and tell you I could probably recorded this 2 or 3 nights ago had I not been playing Fortnite the last couple nights. But then again, recording a podcast after I had caused what at the moment felt like irreparable damage to our home, my mind wasn't right there. It wasn't right. So I couldn't record a podcast. So I think we have to spend more time thinking and consuming, and not necessarily consuming, but thinking about what we are going to consume and how we consume that, and drop some things that are a little less important, little lower things that are lower on the totem pole that necessarily aren't that important. Spend the. And I sound so I feel like I sound so hypocritical. It's so easy. Your diet can make you feel so much better, and it sounds so fucking horseshit and woo woo. But now that I've lived it, it's so eye opening, and it's like, yeah, it really does. It's so. Everybody should be telling people, like, yo, do you know how easy it is to feel fucking great? Like, you don't need to feel like crap. You don't need to feel tired all the time. You don't need to feel constantly hungry. But it takes some work to do. And I know that's, sometimes I guess that's the hard sell is, it's going to fucking suck. And, it does, but it's sure as hell fucking worth it. And on that note, guys, thank you. That's the podcast. I will be back before next week, and I'll definitely make another podcast in a couple days on the 28th when I celebrate my kiddoversary with you guys. Take it easy. Have a good night. Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Fat Boy Podcast. Have a nice day.